Hi, everybody. Dennis Prager. This is a fireside chat, which is very different. A, it's not my home. B, it's not my dog. C, it's not my fireplace. In fact, it's not a real dog and it's not a real fireplace. But we try to create a fireside chat atmosphere, even though it's not in the usual place. And the reason it's not in the usual place is I am with 11 PragerFORCE people from literally all over the world. You will meet them. I will meet them. We just have had only a few minutes together, so I'm as curious as you to meet them, and it gives me hope. It should give you hope that we have such wonderful young people in so many different countries with the values that we espouse here at PragerU. So that's a brief synopsis of what's going on. I will just say one more thing in advance. I believe that everything we stand for is as applicable in Argentina or Ethiopia, two of the places represented, as it is in the United States. Either values are good and logical and universal, or they're not relevant to anybody. Culture is a different story. What people eat, the music they like, how they conduct daily life, that's fine. That's a non-issue. It's nice to have different cultures and different languages. I think it's beautiful. But when it comes to moral values, either they're applicable to all people or they're not applicable to anybody. So I don't believe in the notion of, well, my culture doesn't believe in freedom. Your culture may not believe in freedom, but that's not an excuse. So that's why I believe what we have to say is universal. And these 11 young people are, I think, a living proof that that is the case. So let's try to meet them. Not try, let's in fact meet them. All right, we'll begin here. So your name?
My name is Jose Maria Uribe. I'm from Bogota, Colombia.
So you're from Bogota, Colombia. How did you discover PragerU?
I discovered PragerU back in 2017, coming out of high school. I started studying political science in university back in Florida, and I realized that most of the things that I was being taught didn't reflect the way that I saw the world, didn't reflect the way that I was raised. I came here with a mentality of a country that the professors in my university were not reflecting.
How were you taught America is? Imperialist, colonialist, rich, oppressing the poor, racist?
I was not told that about America. I was not taught that about America. I was taught that people here are taught to work for what they have. People here are taught to strive for a better future, but they have to do the work and they have to be
So you were given a positive view of America?
Yes, I was given a positive view of America. And when I started going to college, my professors in college, who were Americans, started to tell me all the things that I was taught back home were not true.
Oh, so wait, in America?
Yes.
So you learned how bad America is in America, not in Colombia.
Exactly.
So let me tell you who are viewing. One of the most common things we're told is how good it is to have foreign students come to America and study. Then they have such a wonderful understanding of America. It's good for the country, that is for the U.S. I love that foreigners come to the United States. However, it's nonsense that they will end up with a positive view because exactly what you heard. They will be taught by Americans who loathe America, namely most of their professors. It's a tragedy, but it's a fact. Okay, thank you. Next. You are?
I'm Maria Jose. I'm from Lima, Peru.
From Lima. And by the way, I was in both your countries and I loved my time there.
Thank
you.
you.
It was special. Didn't you have a terrible earthquake?
Like a couple years ago.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was in that city right before the earthquake.
Oh, in Pisco?
In Pisco.
Yeah.
I remember Alan Estrin was with me. I speak some Spanish, but I'm not going to start with you. But I do. I speak some Spanish, and we were with a taxi driver in Pisco. He so enjoyed me that he took me to his house. And I had never been taken to a taxi driver's house. That's how friendly the people were.
Yeah.
And Alan said, Dennis, you should run for mayor of Pisco. I got along so well with the people there. And then the tragedy of the earthquake, and I felt, oh my God, I know these people. So I just wanted you to know I have a sort of a tie to your country through Pisco. Okay, so how did you find out about PragerU?
So actually, my dad showed me a video that I think it was along the lines, "Don't follow your passion," because I had trouble choosing my major. And he said, like, you should watch this video. It's very short. It's very precise. So I watched it. And I started binge watching the videos. Like, they were so short for my short attention span. So they were perfect.
Right.
And then I wrote a heartfelt message to the page because one of the things PragerU had a very big impact for me because it made me reconnect with religion. I used to reject my own religion. I'm Catholic, because I was afraid they would judge me for it because it's so trendy to be an atheist, to be an agnostic in Lima. So I didn't even want to do the sign of the cross before I ate. I stopped praying. So one day I felt very reconnected with my religion, with my church. I got back to Mass like after 2 years. So I wrote a message to the Facebook page, and it's so cringy. There was like, I love you so much. You changed my life. I want to do a video, so blah, blah, blah. And they actually responded, and I was like freaking out. And they told me, oh, write this to Devin and ask her to join PragerFORCE. Like, I remember telling my dad, and we both like literally passed out. It was like so great news, and I'm so thankful that I got it because in Lima it's so weird to hear coherent conservative views because you know a lot of people
it's
that
not just weird in Lima.
Okay.
It's weird in New York, Los Angeles, Washington.
You get people that are like, oh, I'm pro-life, but if my girlfriend got pregnant, I'll make her have an abortion. So that's not coherent. That doesn't make any sense. Or like, I'm Christian, but I never go to Mass, and I like to get to a party. So when I saw this group of people, they were young, they were like me, they had the same interests, they had the same struggles. And I was like, I felt in a place that I was accepted, not like the black sheep in my liberal group. So I just loved the experience, and I watched every video with a lot of love in my heart because I can remember how not sad and depressing, but a little sadder and more depressing that was my godless life, actually.
Well, that's great. Thank you. Okay. You are.
Hi, I'm Bernardo. I'm 23, and I'm from Brazil.
Obrigado. And how did you find out about us?
So I'm Jewish, and my brother showed me the videos about the Ten Commandments. And I think, yeah, it's a lot like her because it ended up saving my life later because I went from suicidal high school dropout to what I consider now to be prominent young man. So, and so
that is quite a shift.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, it's because there is this idea that the people who wrote the Bible did not know what they were doing, and that there's nothing to it, and it's so wrong. It's so wrong. You don't. I believe in it, but you don't even need to believe it as a religious text. But it comes with the action. It comes with this belief that man is dumb and that there's nothing around him that he can save. And that's again, it's so wrong. So wrong.
Wow.
Yeah.
So are you now at university, or are you working, or what?
I'm at university and I study pedagogy, education. And,
right.
Yeah. And I just got out of an internship teaching young children, and I should graduate this semester.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
So your favorite videos are the Ten Commandments?
No,
They saved his life, but they're not his favorite.
No, they were for a long time. Recently, the one discipline equals freedom. That was very strong. It's kind of a wake-up call, you know.
Yes.
Keeps you going.
That's great. Yeah. Well, great to see you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Hi, I'm Gabriel, and I'm from Singapore.
And are you living in Singapore now?
Yeah.
And where are your parents from?
Singapore.
Oh, so you're second generation Singapore.
Yeah, not many generations in Singapore.
I know, that's why I asked. Exactly. So are you at college, high school, what?
I am actually in pre-college. I'm not allowed to go to college until I complete my mandatory
How old
national
are you?
service. 19.
So how does it work in Singapore? Is it called high school? What?
So we go by the British system, primary school, secondary school, and after that you go to pre-college or a polytechnic. I'm in a polytechnic where I study media and communications.
I see. And how did you find PragerU?
Well, I think it was really God's plan to find Prager along with Ben Shapiro, you know. I grew up very lost in my country because in my country there's no such thing as left and right. It's just a one-party government. There are opposition, but the same government gets voted in every single election. So there weren't really conservative values that I could actually relate to, even though those were in my soul, in my heart, those were what I believed in. But yet I always thought I was crazy. Why am I the only one who believes in the things that I do? And so one day, by chance of fate, I found Ben Shapiro and I found his videos, and I spent the entire night, I didn't sleep. I watched Ben Shapiro, all the PragerU videos, and so much more, and that was really my turning point. Getting into PragerFORCE is a different story because I didn't know that PragerFORCE was actually open to internationals. And so to find something that was open to internationals was so exciting for me because I never knew that I could be part of something greater, because in my country, obviously, there's nothing like this. And being one of the few people that actually believe in the things that I do in my country, this was really a dream come true, honestly.
Give me an example of something you believe in that you are very much alone in believing in.
Well, the basic human rights of freedom, the Judeo-Christian values that America was founded upon. This is something that is unheard of in Asia, so to say.
Right.
Christianity might have been brought into Asia by the colonists that came to Asia, and like the Spaniards, the British. Christianity might have been brought there, but the foundation of the society wasn't founded on Judeo-Christian values. And I think to have this missing really changes the way a society is. So things like the basic human rights are not really as important as it is in Western culture.
Right. Well, thank you. It's a joy to meet you.
Thank you.
Sir.
Hey, my name is Caduceus Asafa. We actually pronounce it as Caduceus Asafa. I'm from Ethiopia. I'm 22.
So you're living now in America?
Yes. I'm a student here in Virginia.
You're a student in Virginia, like you're a student in Florida.
Yes, in Florida.
Right, and so from that's from Colombia to Florida, from Ethiopia to Virginia.
Virginia, yeah.
So I want to tell you something you will find interesting. So as I mentioned to you folks, I've been to 130 countries. I have been outside of America every year since I was 20. So that's a lot of travel. And I have a theory on the friendliest people in the world. And Ethiopians, in my opinion, are one of them. And and the interesting thing is I have not been to Ethiopia.
Oh, wow.
This is based, I've been to all your countries except Ethiopia. Maybe that's why I think Ethiopians are so friendly. I haven't actually been there. Maybe if I visit, I'll change my mind. But it has just been consistent that I meet so many Ethiopians in America, and especially in the Washington, D.C. area, but there are many in Los Angeles as well. And whether male or female, they just, they are friendly, they are lively. Do you agree with me, or do you think I have a romantic vision?
Absolutely, yeah. Helping and sharing is just a great part of the culture.
It is.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
So yet you had the Derg, or the Derg, right?
The Derg, yeah.
The Derg, which was a horrible communist regime.
Yes.
And so even a good and friendly people can be poisoned. Are you old enough to remember them?
Actually, I was not born when the military regime was overthrown, but I heard a lot of stories. I read history books. So we basically had the monarchy, Haile Selassie.
Right.
So he reigned for 44 years. He was actually headed into a good direction after Ethiopia defeated Italy.
Right.
Around 1930s. So they were developing a constitution. So they were transitioning into a constitutional monarchy. But after a while, the monarchy was not strong enough and it didn't serve the people as it should. So the military came and overthrew the emperor. So they established their communist government. So they actually stayed in power for 17 years.
That's
and
right.
Almost 2 million people died.
2 million
Yeah,
people.
yeah.
And as I remember at the time, there was a terrible drought. And that's when I made the discovery how communists are so powerful, they affect the weather. That was what I came up with. Every time there's a communist regime, it's
Yeah.
followed by a famine.
Yeah, and one of the
Yeah,
reasons...
it is an astonishing thing. Like wheat stops growing when communists come into power.
Exactly, and one of the reasons for it was the government took all the money and invested on buying artilleries.
That's right. That's
so
what,
in fact, at that point, Ethiopia was the strongest military in Africa while it was under the communist rule. So a war broke out and a new government took over and they led the country for the past 28 years. And what they basically did was they divided the country into this ethnic line, within these ethnic lines. So the demarcations were based on linguistic groups. So they created an identitarian state, so an apartheid state, basically. So,
Right.
so we saw the monarchy, the communists, and the identitarians.
Do you intend to live in America or go back to Ethiopia?
I haven't decided that yet. We'll see.
It depends if you marry an American or an Ethiopian.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking about it, so
You're right.
I'm working on it.
I could tell. Well, thank you. It's great to meet you. I'm a Saganalo, as I said earlier.
Exactly, Minimidal.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Ethan. I'm 19 and I come from New Zealand,
Right, and I asked you earlier, North Island and north of Auckland.
north of Auckland.
And how did you discover PragerU?
I would have been scrolling on the internet looking at Jordan Peterson videos at the time. I was a bit of a fan. I really liked what he had to say, and PragerU just must have come up, and I would have clicked on it. And ever since then, I've just been watching your videos. I subscribed, and yeah, that's basically how I found PragerU.
Right, it's a wonderful thing. It's basically Jordan Peterson, Ben Shapiro, PragerU, and we feed each other. People
Yeah, I
who
agree.
don't know Jordan and know us then meet Jordan, or Ben through us, or we through Ben. It is a wonderful thing. I want them to become as popular as possible. They have wonderful things to say, and I want you folks to know, and I want you, there is zero concept of rivalry among those of us who share these values. We do everything to promote Ben and Jordan. They do everything to promote us. And because the values are higher than anything else to all of us. And I tell you, did you see my interview with Jordan Peterson?
Yes, I actually did watch that.
That's moving, isn't it?
It was really good. I showed my mom, actually. It was really good because it didn't seem like it was scripted. It just was nice and flowing.
Oh, it's completely non-scripted. It's as non-scripted as this.
Okay.
So are there any others like you in your town in New Zealand?
My small group of friends from high school, yes. I think it's because we all work in more the primary industries where it's more hands-on and physical labor. But in the universities, no, I'm quite an odd one out.
So give me one or two things you believe that make you an odd one out.
Well, abortion and gun control.
That would do it. Yep. That's those right.
I spoke out about abortion on... This is how I actually became a PragerFORCE member. Like Gabriel, I had no idea PragerFORCE was open to international students.
Right.
I posted a picture of an abortion on my Instagram and said how I believed it was just wrong and it was murder. and I got tons of comments. And I have a very small Instagram with just under 400 followers, and my DMs were, I had tons of DMs for, I think, 2 weeks from that post. And that was just really shocking, and I felt, well, I really knew then that I had spoken out and that people disagreed with me. And
So, do you have a favorite PragerU video or a bunch
it would
of?
be climate change. What do scientists say? Because I've used that in one of my arguments I posted about climate change, and how I sided with you guys. And
So you don't think the world is coming to an end in 12 years?
I think 4. I agree. I agree. Yeah.
You're good.
It's definitely not coming in.
Pleasure to meet you. Thank you. All right, we'll go back there. Hi.
Hi, I'm Yakko from the Czech Republic, and I'm 17 years old.
And what city in the Czech Republic?
Pardubice. It's the city of gingerbread.
Oh, now I know. Okay. So this will really sound like ancient history to you. But I was first of all, I was there when it was Czechoslovakia, not the Czech Republic. And I was there the year after the Soviets invaded. And it was one of the most depressing trips of my life. The Czech people were very depressed. I mean, truly, it was a national depression because they had the Prague Spring under Dubček, where there was more freedom than in any other communist country. The Soviets invaded, and then there was less freedom than in any other communist country except for East Germany. So your parents would know about that, I assume.
Well, they were born just around those years.
Right.
In 68.
68, yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So your grandparents would know about it.
Yeah.
That's right. So you said to me earlier also Germany?
Yeah, I lived in Germany for about 11 years. My father does mechanical engineering, and he worked there for a company.
So you speak German?
Yes.
And Czech, obviously, and English. Where did you learn English?
Well, in school, I had like bilingual lessons. So we, for example, politics and economy and physical education, we were taught in English. But I think mostly like from the internet, just watching
movies
videos and.
Right. That's the best way to learn a language, is watch movies with subtitles.
Yeah, there's so many things on the internet that just aren't available in other languages.
Exactly. English is very important. So you right now are back in the Czech Republic.
Yes.
Do you ever think we're lucky not to be with Slovakia, or it never occurs to you?
No. Well, my teacher said the only reason why we are split up is because we had 2 prime ministers that didn't like each other.
That makes sense to me. I've never understood why they split up.
Yeah, if there was probably a vote, it probably wouldn't have happened.
Is that right?
I think so.
That's fascinating. It never made full sense to me. So that does make sense. 2 prime ministers who didn't, and they both wanted a job.
Yeah.
that was the problem. So are you? How old are you?
I'm 17.
So you're in what we would call high school?
Yeah.
And how did you come across PragerU?
In 2016, I was still living in Germany. And when Trump got elected, the whole world turned upside down for the Germans, I would say,
right.
Because they're very left-leaning,
right.
And it was just nobody really understood why he got elected, and that was also like thing for me. I didn't understand it, but I wanted to find out, so I searched like for conservative voices on YouTube or on the internet in general. And then when I found, like, for example, Daily Wire, then I think YouTube started suggesting more other conservative voices, and that's also how I came across PragerU.
Do you have a favorite video?
I really like Fix Yourself by Jordan B. Peterson, because it's like a really small thing everyone can do, and the world, like the whole world, could be a better place.
Do you feel it is a great video? He's a great man, by the way. I must tell you, I don't say that often. He is a very special human being. Watch the video when I interview him at the Prager Summit, and then I asked him if he believed in God. And his answer is overwhelming about what a good human being Jordan Peterson is. He's a rare human being.
Yeah.
And I only wish him well. He's had some difficult things in his life. So that was one of your favorites.
Mm-hmm.
Are you personally religious?
No, I am not.
Right. So have you seen any of the Case for God or Ten Commandments videos, or you basically go to economics and other
I
things?
have, but I don't remember them very well.
Yes, okay, so they didn't make a big impact, obviously. Well, no, I totally understand.
I think Jordan Peterson actually changed my mind on Christianity or Judeo-Christian values a lot.
Yes.
Because like the Bible became stories that actually capture like the human mind.
That's right.
They weren't just something in a book.
No, they're not fairy
but
tales.
There were, he says why they're so important and why this book is so popular for all these years.
Well, I really do hope all of you will one day read my commentary on the Bible. It will touch your soul deeply. It's the wisest book ever written. It is, not my book.
Yeah.
No. When I heard you laughing, I realized it sounded like my book. My book is not the wisest book ever written. My book is about the wisest book ever written. Thank you so much. Is it Jenguya?
Jacob or Yakko.
No. Thank you.
Oh, Yakko.
Dekuya.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yakko.
Yes, sir.
Hey, my name is Sebastian Ceballos. I'm from Ecuador, and I am 22 years old.
See, I thought Latin Americans only speak Spanish fast. They speak English fast, too.
I think I speak all the languages that I speak fast.
You do? What do you speak?
Oh, I also speak German.
Why?
I was exchange student in Germany.
You were what in Germany?
Exchange student.
Oh, an exchange student in
Yeah,
Germany.
yeah.
Oh, interesting. What city?
Cologne.
Oh, I see. Köln, yeah?
Yeah, Köln.
How long were you there?
For a year.
And you learned German in a year?
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
It's not an easy language.
No, it's not, but, you
Where-
have to...
Where in Ecuador are you from?
Cuenca.
Which is
Ecuador.
where?
It's in the south. It's like 3 hours away driving from the...
Is it on the coast?
No.
It's inland.
Yeah, it's in the Andean region of Ecuador. So it's a 3 hour away drive to Peru.
And you are how old?
I'm 22.
Oh, so are you at university?
Yes.
Which
yes.
one?
Universidad de la SUAY.
Okay.
Yes.
And how did you find us?
Now that we're talking about my university, I'm actually the president of the Diplomatics Club of my university. Oh. So that has made me a crusader, I would see myself, for truth and for knowledge. So I've always been a conservative, even though I don't look like one with the nose ring and everything. I don't look like a conservative, but I think like a conservative. So I started trying to learn some more. I still see some really good YouTube channels in Spanish, and then after some casualties, I ended up finding PragerU. So yeah, that's how I...
Just on the YouTube. So are you, and you're in PragerFORCE in Ecuador. Is there anyone else in PragerFORCE?
No, I'm the only Ecuadorian
right.
in PragerFORCE.
Do you show any of these videos to friends?
Yes, of course, but...
How do they react?
Okay, so here's the thing. Ecuadorian youth, it's not that much into politics. They're definitely not. I think that they follow the standard of, it doesn't matter if it's a right-wing government or a left-wing government. If I'm the one who has to work. But when I try to explain to them that it makes life 1,000 times easier if you have a right-wing government, they're just like, okay, I'll just vote for whom my parents vote. So
right.
Yeah, most of the time.
So they're not politically sophisticated.
Oh no, not at all. Definitely.
Are
not.
people in Colombia, you think, politically sophisticated?
I think the recent generation, no, not at all.
Right. Hold on for a minute.
Okay.
And in Peru, you think they are?
Like, people are very interested in
Oh, that's what you're doing. You're a good man. I like you. You don't look conservative, but you're good. Yeah.
For example, this Sunday there are elections for Congress, so people like really talk about it on Twitter and Facebook. You see a lot of famous people in my country that advocate for the leftist ones. So I wouldn't say they're sophisticated, but I would say like what they hear, they repeat, and they don't question it. So
Right. And Brazilians, are they, you think, sophisticated politically?
Yes, I think they have recently become. And
Oh,
it's-
yeah, with Bolsonaro.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, yeah, but even before that, so in 2014, Dilma Rousseff got elected, and then in 2016 she suffered an impeachment, and that really divided the country. And it was kind of the point where everybody's into politics now. And recently in the government, people read about it daily, and I see a lot of people are moving quickly across the political spectrum, and younger people who are older, like in their 40s, 60s, who never got interested in politics, it really made an impact to them now.
Okay, thank you. All right, give it back to Sebastian there. And I know in Singapore, that's interesting. I think Singaporeans are middle class comfortable.
Yeah,
That's how I look at it.
I mean, Singaporeans, they're too comfortable. They're too safe.
That's
I mean,
right.
Singapore is one of the safest
right. These
places to
issues
live in,
don't
so-
exactly. I know. I know. In Singapore, I had my feet cleaned by fish. Do you know about that?
Yeah.
You don't know about that, do you? You put your feet in a pond, and there are, believe it or not, there are fish that will clean your feet. I know that sounds gross, but to the fish, it's a delicacy. But what is the name of that fish? Do you know? You know what I'm referring to, though, right?
Yeah, I do, but
it's an
no
amazing
idea.
thing. And in Ethiopia, are people politically sophisticated?
I can say they're sophisticated now after the new government. We have a new prime minister now, and he actually won the Nobel Peace Prize for this year for making peace with the Eritrean government.
Right.
So they're becoming more sophisticated now. Yeah.
New Zealand, I think, is overwhelmingly just on the left, correct?
I think not really. I wouldn't say that, but our government is definitely left wing, as in no party stood up for gun. They just all voted, apart from one man, to have the guns taken, semi-automatic firearms being taken away.
Right, like in Australia.
Like in Australia, exact same. But I think young people my age, from what I have seen, are not interested in politics.
Right.
They'll just vote for the more left wing because
Right,
they hand out free.
Right, they'll take care of them.
Yep, they'll take care of them. But
This is a problem. This is a problem.
But the older folks, say 30 years above, they're more interested. Or if you work, like if you have a trade or you're working in the primary industries, you're probably more interested.
Right, thank you. And the Czech Republic,
Well,
they were once very sophisticated politically. I don't know what it is today.
Young people know that communism is bad. They don't support it. But I think other than that, most people are not that interested into politics.
Right.
But now recently there have been like protests, and more people have been becoming interested in politics.
Do you show our videos to people in the Czech Republic?
Yeah.
And do you get a positive response, or I'd rather watch a movie, thanks?
It's like neutral. Like I don't know if they really if it says something to them or.
Right. Well, you got to try, which I know you do. Thank you. So finally, Sebastian. So, by the way, you said you don't look conservative because of the nose ring and so on, the hairdo. So I want you to know, I have learned there's no such thing as look conservative.
Yeah. That makes sense.
I have so many experiences. I had a recent one at the airport, a couple, both completely tattooed, full sleeves, tattoos, and ink up to here, but not on the face, thank God. And they walk over to me, you Dennis Prager? I go, yeah. Oh, I love you. So I get that. There's no, and there are people who are radical leftists who look so, what we call clean cut.
Yeah.
So there's no such thing. But I just want you to know. But I understood the point that you were making.
Yeah, well, I consider myself clean cut.
That was good. All right. And you are?
So I am Ventura, I am 20, and I came from Madrid, the capital of Spain.
Yes. It's sad that you have to add capital of Spain.
Yeah.
But not everybody knows that, I guess.
Yeah, a lot of people think that Barcelona is the capital.
Oh, they do?
Yeah.
Oh, that's sad. Are they still up till 3 in the morning in Madrid?
Yes. I mean, sometimes the people used to say that we, like the Spanish people, we are partying like all the night.
Yes.
But that's not true. Maybe, for example, when the tourists come to Madrid, they like to party a lot. But for example, for us, maybe we go to bed at 1 a.m. as much.
That's right. I'm sorry, 1 a.m. Okay,
But
fine.
maybe sometimes we go to bed later, but yes.
Are you at
this is true.
university?
Yes.
What are you studying?
I am studying in the Universidad Rey Juan Carlos, in the Rey Juan Carlos University, and I am studying a degree in tourism. I am in my third year. I am
in
junior.
tourism?
Yes, tourism.
Oh, great. It's a great field.
Yeah.
Tourism is one of the largest businesses in the world.
Yes, the tourism is indeed the industry that have saved Spain a lot of times.
I believe that.
Yeah, it is.
That's exactly right. What do you think that there will be a secession in Spain?
I hope that not. Like, for example, this is a very complicated topic for us, because if you are talking about Catalonia,
Yes.
like, they think that they can decide about their territory, but indeed it's like a topic that all the Spanish people must to decide about. So I
Well, if
think
all the Spanish decide, they won't secede.
no.
The Catalonians think they can decide.
Exactly, like
Right.
they think that they can decide, and they even make a referendum, like an elections, just for themselves, and
Right.
it was illegal. It's about like the 50% of Catalonia they want to be independent, and the 50% of the citizens of Catalonia they don't want to be independent. They want to continue living in Spain.
Your country and Ireland, in my opinion,
Yeah.
have the quickest and most radical changes of a culture
Yeah.
that I have ever experienced.
Yes.
From intensely traditional, intensely Catholic, to intensely leftist and intensely atheist.
Exactly.
It's astonishing in one generation.
And I don't know why. If, for example, you are following the politics in Spain, you can see that now we are having a socialist communist government
Right.
in Spain, and this is very sad because I am a conservative and I see like all the things that the socialism and the communism has bring to the world, and it's very sad. It's very sad.
Are you religious?
Yes, I am Catholic.
Right. So do you go to church?
Yes, every Sunday.
Are you the only young person in the church?
Yes, it's like sometimes I am the only one, and this is also very sad because I don't know, it feels bad. Like for all my young peers, they don't want to go to mass. It feels bad.
That's why we make the videos that we do about God and morality and so on. If we had videos in Spanish,
Yes.
would it be helpful to you?
Yes, it will
And
be
you,
very
and
helpful.
you, and obviously Portuguese, yeah. Right, I know. Spanish would
Yeah.
not help much, I know.
I think that, for example, the problem with all the videos is that maybe the Spanish people and even the South American people, like we are all very lazy to listen the videos when they are in English sometimes. For example, us, we are not lazy because we listen it.
Would the subtitles in Spanish be good, or that's an effort?
It is not going to be the same, like, because the people have to read. I mean, it will be like more easy to have
And that's
videos.
tough. That is tough.
with-
I understand.
With anchors that speak Spanish and address the people in Spanish, and instead of, for example, reading the captions.
Are Spaniards getting married and having children, or like the rest of Europe, they're not?
I think that maybe in Spain it's more usual to get married and having children. But for example, I think that in Spain, like each married couple have about 1.5 children. So
1.5?
Yes, and a half.
That's more than some places.
Yes, but it's
But
usual.
Spain is not reproducing.
No, exactly. We have more deaths than
More deaths than
born-ins.
births.
Yes.
That's
and this is
right.
very sad.
You want to get married?
Yes, I hope so. One day to have a beautiful wife and have children.
As opposed to an ugly wife? I just,
Even true, yes.
how many children do you want?
I don't know. This is it's a very good question, but
Do you all want to get married? Yes. Any of you not wanting to get married? Don't be embarrassed to say. If I were to ask people your age in your countries, is it important to you, is it very important to you to get married and make a family?
Yes.
Would most say yes?
Yes.
No, I don't think so.
It depends.
See, this to me, that is indicative of the tragedy of secularism. And I know you tend towards secularism, but you obviously don't have those values. But it is an amazing thing that you think it's instinct to get married, instinct to have children, but it's a value. It's not an instinct.
Yeah, the thing with having children, I think it means in a sense that you love life. And that's why it started to mean to me. I love so much being alive, I want more people
That's
to be.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
And so the idea that you don't want children tells me that, one, you're not compromised or really engaged in reality, but also that on a fundamental level, you hate living. And I think that's a big
I happen to agree with that. Look, every poll in America, is that conservatives are happier than leftists. And it makes, and they're, so you're, and they're more likely to get married, and that'll make them happier, because married people with children are happier. They have more problems, but they're happier. No, it's just the way it works. It is true. So do you feel lonely in Spain?
I don't feel lonely, because thanks God, I have found all of my life a lot of conservative people.
Oh, you have?
Yes,
Your
I have
age.
conservative friends of my age.
But you're the only one at church.
Yes, because like the people in Spain maybe is lazy to go to church, but this is maybe in the big cities. For example, my fathers are from a hometown in La Mancha. Maybe some of you know
La Mancha, of
Don
course.
Quixote
Don
of La Mancha,
Quixote, yeah.
Don Quixote. And they are from there. And for example, in my village, the young people go to Mass. And this is something that doesn't happen in the big cities.
Have you spoken to the ones from Latin America in Spanish?
Yes.
Do you think his Spanish is funny?
Yeah.
You speak Castellano, right?
Yes, Castellano.
Right. You will say th, correct?
What?
Th.
No.
Wait. There's a big difference for. Give me a word. Would you say centro or centro?
Centro.
So that's what I'm saying. You say th. So that sounds funny to you, right?
Yeah.
Do they sound funny to you?
Yeah, not because I have been like all my whole life listening. When, for example, I listen, I say centro. I have listened for all my life centro. Centro.
But
for
not
example,
you haven't listened your whole life to
zorro.
centro,
Right.
right?
Like these type of things, we are very used to
Yeah,
these things.
I understand. But you understand each other perfectly,
Yes,
correct?
perfectly.
Yes. Now, do you, when you speak to a Portuguese person from Portugal, is it different to Portuguese?
I have never spoken to one.
Okay, that's an
but
honest
like,
answer. Yeah.
When I listen to them speaking, it's harder to understand.
It is.
It really is, because
That's fascinating.
yeah, because it's supposed to be like a Latin language, but it really sounds to me like a Saxon language. It sounds more like English. It sounds.
Is that
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
When Portuguese speak Portuguese.
Yeah.
That's fascinating.
It's almost as if they spoke with their mouth closed.
That's right. All right. Thank you again. All right. Hi there. And you are?
Hi, I'm Agostina. I live in Buenos Aires, Argentina, but I grew up in Texas and California.
Oh,
More
really?
California than Texas.
So are your parents American or Argentinian?
Argentine Americans.
Oh, one's Argentine and
I mean,
one's...
no, they're like dual citizens.
Where
So-
did they grow up?
In Argentina.
So you're bilingual.
Yes.
I see. Do you prefer, is one easier than the other, Spanish or English?
When I'm reading, I prefer English. I mean, it's still hard for me to read in Spanish, although I do study literature in Spanish. But when I'm speaking, I feel that sometimes I do make mistakes in English because, I mean, my family talks in Spanish, so I don't practice much English.
Have you spoken to her in Spanish?
We share a room.
So I trust you do speak to each other.
Yeah, they speak
Is
really
hers-
fast.
They do, they speak fast.
Like,
That's what I think. That's what I said to him. Yeah, exactly.
Argentines speak fast,
Yes.
but they speak even faster.
They speak faster than who, Argentinians?
Yeah.
Yes, in Latin America, it's unbelievably fast. Do you know you speak fast? Well, you're a Brazilian again. Do you know you speak fast?
Well, people from Colombia, we tend to have a more normal pace.
Oh,
would
I
say.
see. Is that true? You agree with him?
Yeah, I think Colombians speak slower, but Peruvians, but more specifically Limeños, that is Lima is the capital, we speak singing. Like, that's a very common thing. When you ask people, Peruvians speak singing. We connect the words at the last vowel, so we start like, oh, ¿cómo estás? ¿Cómo te llamas? Like, it's very fluid, so we
Right.
tend to speak very fast. And with Sebastian, he's from Ecuador, we have a lot of the same slang words, so we speak very fast, and we have like a very similar culture, so that makes it
So
easier.
does her Argentinian Spanish sound different to you?
Like special words like
Words,
instead of,
but no, accent.
oh yeah, it's different.
It
It's
is different, yeah.
Yeah.
I know. It's a beautiful accent, actually, in
Thanks.
Argentina.
Well, for example, people in Argentina say vos instead of tú, so they conjugate the verbs differently.
Oh, they don't say two at all?
No.
Never?
No. So if I'm talking to a friend or like anybody on the street, I would say vos, which is like informal. But if I was speaking to like a professor or something, I would say usted, but never tú. Tú is like from Mexican movies or like maybe.
That's funny.
Yeah.
How did you discover PragerU?
During Kavanaugh's confirmation process back in 2018, my dad was talking about politics all the time, so I started reading up and stuff like that. First, I discovered Ben Shapiro, I think, and then I discovered PragerU on YouTube, but I really didn't. I mean, I watched the videos, but I didn't really realize it was PragerU. I didn't like connect the name with the videos. But then a friend of mine at college sent me your interview with Candace Owens. And it was mind-blowing. I just loved especially those last 2 minutes when you talk about the meaning of life. So I decided I wanted to join PragerFORCE. I mean, it was all a one-day thing. So I binge-watched.
Were you in Buenos Aires at the time?
Yes. Yes, I've been living over there for 80 years.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. So I watched like every 5-minute video I could find.
Do you watch the Fireside chat?
Yes.
Do any else other than you? Others watch Fireside chats? Yeah? Oh, good. It's totally different than the videos, obviously, but everything we do is different. The Candace show and the other things. So, do you show these to anybody in Buenos Aires? Any of your friends?
Yeah. First of all, I show them to my family, especially my 13-year-old brother, who loves them. He loves taking the quizzes at the end and all of that. And then I started a political club with some of my classmates. There were some who were non-political or even, mostly non-political or not leftist, but kind of liberal. And then they started changing their minds. I saw that with other friends, like at my parish too. After they were exposed to conservative ideas, like from PragerU or Shapiro, they actually started agreeing with me more.
Wow, that's nice. You hope to get married?
Yeah.
How many kids do you want?
I don't know, as many as God sends me, I guess.
Say it again.
As many as God wants.
As many as God wants. Well, God wants that you have 11.
Okay.
I spoke to him.
If he wants that.
But your husband has to want it too.
Yeah.
It's not enough you and God.
I like the number 5.
Five, you
Five's a
like the
nice
number 5?
Yeah.
Now,
But
if you knew nothing about a man, nothing, just you were told there were 2 wonderful men, your age or a little older than you, both wonderful in every way. One is Argentinian and one is American. Which would you marry?
Well, I really want to live in the States again, so I would probably go with the American guy.
And where in the States do you want to live?
I consider myself Texan, so I would go to Texas.
You're so healthy, you probably are a Texan.
Texas is the best.
It is.
I love
agree.
California.
Texas
California
is
is
the
just
best.
beautiful, but Texas is
No.
Texas.
But this state has been ruined. What's new in Argentina politically?
After, I don't know if, so Macri was the president for the last 4 years. Right now there were elections. Everybody thought that Macri was this kind of far-right Nazi guy, but he was actually center-left. And then everybody
If you're
thought
not
he was
far left, you're a Nazi. That's it. It's just like
people
that.
thought he was like the people who liked him said he was like the Argentine Trump. Some compared him to Bolsonaro or to.
There you go.
Or-
The Brazilian
Yeah.
Trump.
But he was really center left, and now there's this leftist guy who sides with China and Cuba. For example, his first meetings before he met with Americans or Europeans, he met with Cubans and Venezuelans and the Chinese. So.
Uh-huh. Wow.
Once I interviewed two ladies at this Leftist March, and I asked them what they were marching about, and they told me it's a non-political march. I mean, it doesn't belong to any party, but we belong to the party, what's it called? Todos, I think, which is the party the new president belongs to. And so I asked them about Venezuela, what they thought about it, and they said there are no human rights issues in Venezuela. That's all Trumpist and European propaganda. But actually, it's Trump's fault. So I was like, there's no problems, or it's Trump's fault. And they just kept repeating the same thing.
Wow. By the way, have you ever been to the south of Argentina?
I went to Bariloche, but I never went to the bottommost part.
I went to Ushuaia. I have to tell you, southern Argentina is one of the most gorgeous places on this
it's
whole
beautiful.
planet.
I met a Swiss priest who said that Bariloche looks just like Switzerland.
Right.
So.
And the weather is beyond belief. After Buenos Aires, hot to Buenos Aires, to
No
go
AC.
to Patagonia, huh? No AC? Is that right?
In Buenos Aires, you do have AC, like at college, at the stores.
But not in
and stuff.
not in homes, not in apartments?
It depends, but usually not.
Oh boy. I'll visit in the winter again.
Good idea.
Well, welcome. Thank you. And finally, hi.
Hi. My name is Emily, and I live in Stockholm in Sweden.
Well, if there's one country we don't associate with conservatism,
Yeah.
it is Sweden. Is that fair? Is that a fair generalization, or
Yeah,
is it?
it is.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Why? What is it? I am fascinated by Sweden, absolutely, because it is so many years now that it has just believed in leftism. What is it about the Swedes? You know, they were a religious Lutheran people for centuries. And those values, you know, hard work and family and tradition were very powerful. What happened?
I don't know really, but it has been leftist for like 100 years or more
Oh,
now.
yes,
So
yeah.
I don't know really what happened, but
Do you
it's not
know
good.
that one of the members of your government, it wasn't the prime minister, but it was a woman, and I remember it was incredible. She was asked about Swedish values. Do you know this story? And she said, Swedish values? What are those?
it's like the same in the whole Sweden. It's like we don't have any Swedish values.
That's right.
We can't sing the national song in school and so on. So it's really weird.
Is there even a sense like when the Swedes are in the Olympics, do people root for Sweden, or it doesn't matter?
No, it doesn't matter. Some people, it's like in soccer, then the Swedes are like, oh, we vote for Sweden, or like...
Root, yeah.
Yeah, but otherwise, no. It's really
Right.
weird. I don't know why, but...
So the average Swede your age, are they worried about the massive influx of refugees from the Middle East?
Yeah, they are, and it's horrible because we have more shootings in Sweden than it is in Italy, for example. And
rapes.
yeah, exactly. And 95% of the rapes are from Muslims, mostly.
Are you in college or high school?
I'm in high school, last year in high school.
Would half of your grade agree with you?
Kind of, I think, because I go in a school where it's mostly right-wing persons. But
Really?
yeah, but in many other schools it would be another side, I think, because many schools in Sweden and mostly people are left-wing. So.
Do you believe in God?
I'm a member of the Swedish church, but I'm not like a believer. I would
Right.
say.
So are you more agnostic?
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Exactly. Do you know anyone your age who believes in God?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it's like kind of many people are member of the Swedish church, and some of them go to church every Sunday, but it depends on. It's like we have people who are Jewish or Muslims also. So. Yeah.
One Swedish church just announced that Greta Thunberg is a saint. Did you know that?
Yeah. And one thing about the Swedish church in Sweden is that many of them are very leftists, actually.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and that's kind of weird.
It's not weird. Leftism has infected Christianity and Judaism very deeply. It's not weird, unfortunately.
Yeah.
You have a favorite video?
Capitalism versus socialism. So, yeah. And that's like, it really shows the picture of why free marketing is better than socialism.
If you could wish that we produce 2 videos, what subjects would you want us to do?
Maybe about the taxes in Sweden, because it's like we have so many hidden taxes. So the tax rate is 60 to 65%, actually.
That's right.
Yeah, and that's sick. It's like we have, if you go to work, we have 35% taxes, but then we have hidden taxes, so it's like 60% to 65%. And
have you
really,
watched
really
any
high.
of our videos about God or religion, or that doesn't particularly interest you?
I mostly look at videos about free marketing. And
Right, I understand. You want to get married?
Yeah.
So I'll ask you, do you want to have a career?
Yes, I want to have a career.
Okay, so here's my question. I ask women whenever I meet them under 30. You know my question? No. Okay, here's my question. If you could have one guarantee, all right? I'm offering you a choice of 2 guarantees, but you can have one. It does not mean you cannot have the other thing, just only one is guaranteed.
Okay.
Guaranteed a great career or guaranteed a great marriage? Which guarantee?
Great career, I think. Yeah.
And what would you take?
Oh, marriage.
What would you take?
I think a great marriage.
And what would you take?
I would take a great career.
Career.
Marriage.
Career.
It's a really tough one, isn't it?
That's why I ask it. It is a tough one. All right, if you'd flip a coin, that's a good answer too. That's okay. So, how old are you?
18.
18. And what career do you want?
A political career. I want to change the society in Sweden, so
Okay,
so that's
then
why I want
keep
a career.
Good, good.
Yeah.
Did you ever have a boyfriend?
Yeah, but not for so long, so yeah, it's quite a short relationship.
Did you ever have a boyfriend?
No.
You ever have a boyfriend? Because you're quite young, right? It's not.
20.
You're 20?
Yeah.
Would you like a boyfriend?
Yeah, I mean, it's not my top priority.
It sounds like it isn't, I must say.
I mean, I want to get married, but I mean, there's time.
Right, I
I'm
understand.
focusing my
Do you have a
career now.
girlfriend?
I do not.
Did you ever?
I've never had a girlfriend.
I'm not currently dating, but I had one for 3 years.
You did. You
Yeah.
had one for 3 years. Did you have a girlfriend?
No.
You have a girlfriend?
I had.
You had?
Yeah.
You're back in Ethiopia?
And here. Yeah.
And here. You've had 2 girlfriends?
Yeah.
You're quite an operator.
It didn't work.
That's my man. It didn't work. And you?
Yes.
Yes. Do you or did you ever have a girlfriend?
No.
Okay.
I do have a girlfriend.
back home?
Yeah, obviously.
So, and she's Ecuadorian, obviously.
No, she's not.
She's not. Okay, she's Swedish.
No, she's not either.
She's what?
She's not either Swedish.
And I was kidding about that. What is she?
She's from Venezuela, but she came before all the immigrant crisis.
Does she think you're clean-cut looking?
Well, I hope so.
That was a joke. That was a joke. That was great. Have you had a girlfriend?
Yes, I had a girlfriend.
You do now?
No, I had.
You had one?
Until a few months ago.
Oh. Who broke up?
Because we came here to the States for the entire summer, and when we came back to Spain, we saw that the thing wasn't working so
Right.
well, and we decided
Oh,
to...
you traveled together?
Yes.
Yeah, that'll kill every relationship. That's perfect.
But I still love her, but as a friend.
Oh, that's sweet. All right, so I want to tell you one thing, and then we'll wrap up. So listen, this is very interesting. When I was your age, which is a long time ago, when I was your age, everybody had a girlfriend. Every guy had a girlfriend. Every girl had a boyfriend. Just about when I was your age. What do you think has changed?
I think people are terrified of the opposite sex. I think that's a very real thing. I think they are afraid. I think they were afraid back then, but not to this point. I think they were really willing to engage in life and saw that as a part of it. And I think they weren't so caught up in themselves that they couldn't extend the hand and try to at least make something out of it.
This is an interesting... Do any of you agree that there's a fear of the opposite sex? No. Does that sound... No?
I actually think quite the opposite.
There's quite the opposite. All right, give him the mic. 1 second, then I'll be back with you. I'm sorry. What does that mean, quite the opposite?
I mean, I think it's quite the opposite. You know, the sexual revolution. Now, people are more afraid of commitment. If you get a boyfriend, if you get a boyfriend, you can't sleep with other guys. Same way, other way around. So I guess that's why people don't commit nowadays, because that's not the point of relationships anymore. What the media tells you is that, oh yeah, hooking up is cool, and so.
Do you agree with that? Or you
I
all
guess
have?
that does
Yes.
greatly affect.
So hooking up is cooler than marriage.
No.
Well, that's what he's saying.
That's the perception.
No,
I
that's
think.
what people.
That's what the media.
I'm saying that's what all right. The media is saying that.
Yeah.
And are many of your peers buying that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
That's
Even in a
fascinating.
conservative country like Singapore,
R-
conservative.
Right.
It's
Do
everywhere
you
now.
think they're happy living that way with the hookup culture?
Momentarily, yeah, but at the long term, like you know, women's perspective, like my friend would hook up with someone and then she's like, it doesn't mean nothing to me, but then she's like, I don't understand why I can't get a boyfriend. It's because she doesn't know how to love, actually. That's a really big problem. Girls think that if he kisses me, he loves me, but that's not the case, because sex and being close with someone is very different for men than for women. So the media is teaching us girls, young women all around the world, that we have to be like men, that we have not to care about relationships, we have to care more about our careers, we have to be goal-centered, not marriage-centered, and that's fine for some women, but I think it's more applicable all over the globe.
So the two other women agree with that? Could you give the microphone back there? Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a really good analysis of what's going on. I mean, I don't know if I would be marriage-centered, not at this point of my life, but I think it's a really important part of any person's life if they want to get married, and I wouldn't throw marriage away just because of my career. I mean, I think it's so much more, I think you can be a better person by having a good marriage than having a good career. I mean, I remember I think it was a Fireside chat, when you said that you could be like the sales person or something at a shoe
CEO.
shop. Yeah, CEO or at a shoe shop, and I mean that would be great. But I mean, where does that get you? But if you have a good marriage and you love life and children, and it sort of transcends you. So I think of it that way.
Right. And you, who would like to put career first?
Yeah, probably now. I want a marriage like later on in my life, but I would say I think it's okay for people if they want to have hookups, then it's okay. But maybe it's better to have a relationship like later on, because it's not good, I think, to just have hookups the whole life. So.
Right. So my original question was, what changed in 2 generations? Because, since men were built, men have been happy with hookups. But even so, it was in our mind, I have to commit to a woman one day. It was just built in. When I was a boy, to be a man meant marry and have children, take care of a family. That's what be a man meant first and foremost. I don't think that's true today. Is that fair?
Yeah, I think so. In Stockholm especially, we have 60% of the adults are singles.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's like in Sweden especially, I think that...
you think they're happier or less happy for it?
It depends on... I don't know really, but I haven't seen like if married couples are happier or if the singles are happier. But I think that if you find someone that you love, that's really great. So, yeah.
Okay, would you look for someone, or you hope someone will just come along one day?
It depends on. I want to like find someone that I really love, so I'm waiting for it first. So
you're waiting in what
I'm waiting
sense?
Like to find love. So right now I'm not like out for a relationship really. But,
do you guys? If you see an attractive girl at a coffee shop, would you start talking to her, or that's not done anymore?
Yeah.
At first, maybe it's going to be embarrassing.
I'm sorry?
At first, maybe it's going to be embarrassing.
Yeah, well, naturally. That was true in my time, too, yes.
100%.
I think that what the left has made every one of us believe, or maybe some people believe, is that that's harassment. So it's like, okay.
That's a very real issue.
So
this is where you spoke about afraid, right? Mm-hmm. Who spoke about afraid? Yes. I think that this might be a factor.
I actually don't see myself going to a girl and talking with her, not because I think, not because I'm afraid, and not because I have a girlfriend already, but I think I wouldn't see me doing that because the media has turned men and women into kind of victims. So the media has told them that, okay, if someone is getting too close to you, you're being harassed. They are about to rape you. They don't trust men. So I know that it's real, that there are problems where women are murdered, but at the same time, men are being victims of this kind of violence as well. I don't think that violence has a gender. So, yeah, I think that's why it will be kind of complicated, because media tells them that we are evil.
So the three girls here, do boys/men ever walk over to you and try to pick you up, as they say, or chat you up, as they would say in New Zealand?
Yeah, that's
Not me.
Not you?
No.
Okay, so since you're attractive, how do you explain it?
I don't know. Maybe my MAGA hat scares them away.
Okay, that explains it. There we go. That'll do it. But for the guy who likes Trump, you are one find, I gotta tell you.
Yeah, if I ever do date a guy, I mean, he has to like Trump, or at least be conservative. He can like not agree with Trump.
Right. Well, there are plenty of those, at least in America. I don't know how many in Argentina. And what about you?
Yeah, guys come to me sometimes. Yeah.
And are you happy about that?
Yeah, and in Sweden, I can also say that it's kind of weird, because in a nightclub, it's not so often also that just boys get to girls. It's like girls get to boys, and ask them if they can buy them a drink or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Do you ever do that? Do you ever approach a boy that?
No, not so often. But it can happen. But also.
It can happen,
yeah,
right?
Can
I understand. Theoretically.
Yeah.
I understand. Well, you might be too young, right, for this to be applicable.
I'm 17.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, forgive me.
So,
Yeah.
like, in Lima, it's a very tiny society. Like, everyone knows each other.
Is that
like,
right?
Not like everyone knows each other, but everyone knows someone that knows someone. So a complete stranger wouldn't come up to me, but they'll tell me, oh, you know this person, or you went to school with this girl, and then they'll start chatting you up. So.
Uh-huh.
So not a complete stranger, but a friend of a friend, the friend of my cousin, maybe.
And if a complete stranger did, would that seem strange?
Maybe because where I live, like I tell you, everyone knows each other. So if someone that didn't know at least one person that I knew,
It would
maybe
be strange.
it would be strange.
I understand.
But I wanted to make a point with the harassment thing. I think that's very prominent, like for women too. Like, I wouldn't be scared. I would be flattered, actually, but they have sold me the idea that that is harassment. One day I was walking. It was summer in Lima, which is terribly hot. I had a skirt on and a tank top, and I was walking with a guy friend, and a taxi driver, like, whistled at me, and I was like, that doesn't matter. And he told me, he raped you. And I was like, whoa, that was fast for a rape. And I was like, he told me
That's what he said to you? He just raped you?
Yeah, he told me that's rape.
That's rape.
And I was like,
Whistle.
no, that's not rape. Like,
That's really a sad
yeah.
story. That's a sad story.
I think you're dating, because you said about what's changed.
And I think it's got a lot to do with social media in the last two generations. Because, yes, there was a lot of, in the 60s, like lots of casual sex. But I think the reason that it's gotten so big and that why people prefer casual hookups opposed to relationships, and it's because it's so easy. All you have to do is swipe. And that is, to me, I think that I don't do online dating. I think it's just absolutely pretty shallow. And I would much prefer, I'd do the whole talk to a girl in a cafe, just because I feel as though, like, you just want to be better than all the other guys, because so many people are just afraid. And I think it's got something to do with what my Na has told me. And I know this, I'm not sure what you guys might think, but it's, as a man, you've got to bring home the bacon. And that I've really got to stand up and be courageous and really do what I can and show a girl that I respect.
Who taught you that?
My Na, that's my grandma in Fijian. And she told me I got to bring home the bacon, and that a man's really got to step up and look after his woman to show that he loves her.
Do you like that idea? You three women? You don't find that male chauvinism? Patriarchy? What other bad word could I come up with? Okay, so let me offer a final thought and then thank you. One of the reasons that marriage is important is because it makes you grow up. And people don't think that that's a big value anymore. Making a living, getting a career. Growing up is, and part of the reason it's not a big deal is that people know they'll live long. When people died at 40, it was a really big deal to get married when you were young. You didn't say, oh, if he comes along or if she comes along. You didn't marry by 25. You lost out on much of your possibility of having a family. You have every reason to believe that you will live to 100. That's the probability for your generation, that you will live to 100. So you totally understandably think there's no rush, whether consciously or not. Because if you knew you would die at 50, you would think you would start thinking about, I'd like to find somebody. But you don't think that, and you don't have to think that. The problem is that the years that you stay single, there isn't that much growth. It's just a fact. It doesn't mean you're not a wonderful human being. You could be a wonderful human being and be single. But there is no human who has ever married who was denied that they matured as a result of getting married. Even if they divorced, they matured. They all acknowledge it. You ask any married person, did marriage mature you? However you say that in your language, ask them. And I know 100, no one will say, you know, I got married and I got less mature. It doesn't happen. Happy or not, a happy marriage or not a happy marriage, you mature. But maturing is like, it doesn't exist as a value any longer. And so, for example, when I was your age, we were often told, grow up. In American English, grow up. Grow up, it means become an adult. There's no push to become an adult any longer. And part of being an adult is marriage and family. That's a very big part of adulthood, not career. Career is people have to eat, so they need to work. I mean, and especially if you're single, you need to feed yourself. So that's something that is not told to you. What I just told to you, very few adults will tell you. It's not. I don't know why they're almost afraid to tell you the truth about these things. And I'm not certain why. Maybe they think you won't like them. But the secret to my success is I never wanted to be liked. I just wanted to do good. And they're not the same thing. And that's a great lesson for you too. You have to try to do good, whatever the repercussions. What repercussions? A fancy English word. Whatever the consequences. Anyway, I will tell you this. The 11 of you give us at PragerU a very great sense of optimism. From all your different cultures, you're willing to be different. The very fact that you have these values makes you different from most in your generation. That's a credit to you. That takes strength. And you're going to need strength because the forces from the media and from life and politics and Hollywood and everything, they're all in the other direction than what you affirm. Whatever country you're from, it doesn't matter what country anymore. They're united in their shallowness. We deeply treasure you, and you, I know, value us. That's why you're here. So we need each other. God bless you, even if you don't believe in him. May you be blessed, and I hope that we meet very often in the future. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all for watching. Until next week, Dennis Prager, Fireside Chat. Next week with a real fire, a real dog, but not such terrific people. That they won't be there. All right. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to keep these Fireside Chats free, please do by donating to PragerU.